We're constantly making choices, aren't we? Where to put our time, our energy, what we decide to prioritize. And today, we're cracking open a devotional text that kind of flips that whole framework on its head.
Yeah.
It asks, what if the thing you're most devoted to is actually tied to an eternal identity?
It really does. It makes this truly radical claim about the supreme privilege of the believer.
A privilege.
Yes. The central argument is that you've been chosen, anointed, set apart. You don't belong to some earthly institution, but to the sovereign of the universe. And you've
Yeah.
been made an heir of his everlasting kingdom.
Wow. An heir.
Exactly. And that status, the text argues, well, it has to define everything else you do.
That's a powerful distinction to make.
No.
So for this deep dive, our mission is to unpack how this source argues for, for absolute devotion to Christ, who's called the beloved here, and why that one choice is meant to trump every single earthly distraction. Okay, so let's start there with this elevated status. The text is clear. The Christian is an heir brought right into the royal household of the King of Kings. That means your entire life is fundamentally repurposed. It's for his service and his glory.
Right.
It's a huge change in identity. But what does that authority actually look like?
Well, that's what's so fascinating. The description of the king's rule. It's described with perfect authority, wisdom, and love.
So not a tyrannical rule then.
Not at all. The text says it's inherently gentle and rightful. And that's the key. It connects this, lofty identity to a practical reality. Serving this king isn't meant to be some heavy burden. It's meant to be the ultimate privilege.
Okay, but if that eternal calling is so magnificent, why do we find our hearts drifting toward lesser things all the time?
That's the central tension, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the world constantly presents its treasures with these loud promises, right? It specifically targets our desires for success, security, comfort, recognition, and pleasure.
And that raises the big question, why do we chase them if we've been granted this royalty? The author uses this incredibly vivid metaphorical language to describe these worldly gifts.
Like what?
They're called mist in the morning air.
Mist in the morning air.
Yeah. Visible for a breath, then gone. They're just fleeting shadows.
But hold on, doesn't that sort of conflict with just, living life? Ambition and security aren't inherently bad things. We all have bills to pay.
Of course. But the source material suggests they only become shadows when you view them next to the eternal king. If you invest your ultimate loyalty in the mist, you're guaranteed to be left with nothing when the sun rises.
So it's about perspective.
Exactly. The real insight is that focusing on the eternal clarifies how to handle the temporal without letting it consume you.
The text seems to shift here from general kingdom service to a really intimate demand.
It does. It gets very personal.
Christ isn't just a distant ruler. He's called the bridegroom who has set his love upon you. That metaphor, the bridegroom, that's significant.
Oh, it's hugely significant. It's tying the relationship back to ancient covenant imagery. It makes the connection personal, loving, and unbreakable.
And it culminates in a specific action.
It does. The text demands you kiss the sun.
What does that signify?
Well, the text says it's 4 things: surrender, loyalty, affection, and reverence. It's the physical act of bowing your will and clinging to him above every single earthly pleasure.
So if you do that, if you embrace this identity and this demand, what's the resulting joy? In the daily grind.
The promise is transformation, total transformation. When the beloved becomes your supreme love, service becomes joy rather than obligation. And critically, the world loses its power to charm you.
Loses its power to charm you.
Right. So say you face a professional disappointment. This identity reminds you that your ultimate security isn't tied to that fleeting job.
It's tied to the eternal king.
Exactly. So the disappointment is just a temporary inconvenience, not an existential threat. This complete surrender is described as not burdensome, but life-giving. It offers joy, purpose, and an eternal home. So it really presents an all-or-nothing choice, doesn't it? The text argues that it's only by turning from the glitter of this passing world to the one who gave his life that the soul can find true satisfaction.
That's a powerful way to synthesize it. And I think that leaves us with a kind of pretty provocative thought from this work. If the treasures of this age truly seem small and thin, only when the eternal is fully in view, what current ambition in your life, that career goal, that status symbol, that comfort, might just be considered mist in the morning air?